One of my readers hit me up over Twitter because he's reading Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, and he has a problem with it, which I think you've surmised from the title and the thumbnail. Now, I actually disagree with him. I disagree with him very strongly, in fact, and I thought it would make for a good discussion point for a video today. So here I am, bringing Twitter drama to talk about a famous book that I think people will click on. Because Mistborn's a pretty dang good trilogy. I think it's actually better than Way of Kings, and I invite you to have the argument about that in the comment sections below. But let me just jump to the crux of the problem he has. The magic system in Mistborn is called allomancy, as I recall. Please forgive me some details. I read Mistborn something like 8 years ago at this point. What these Mistborn do is they consume trace amounts, or actually quite a bit, but like powdered versions of specific metals, and then they burn the metals to get various magical effects. There's smokers, there's strength enhancement, there's time manipulation, and the cool one is the push-pull on metal, because that's how Brandon Sanderson justified flying around at high speeds using giant swords to fight monsters, because he's the Western version of a shonen weeb. Anyways, the problem is, how come the no metal toxicity? Isn't that poisonous? The magic system, but it burn metals in their bodies. So, if you're an aspiring author and you haven't already watched the lecture series that Brandon Sanderson uploads multiple times, actually, I think there's like 3 different versions based on the year where he just uploads his creative writing course. I honestly think that is some of the best freely accessible content on how to tell a good story available right now. Now, as you should always know, Brandon Sanderson will help you understand how to write a story like Brandon Sanderson. Likewise, Stephen King's On Writing teaches you how to write a book like Stephen King. Any author telling you how to write is going to tell you how to write the way they write. That's what they understand. That's what they think is good. That's what they think works. That's what works for them. That's what they can speak as an authority on. Which is why I kind of don't. That's why I haven't uploaded a how to write tutorial system. Is because at this point, I don't think any sane person should be watching these videos and go, "Oh, James is the expert that I should emulate with his grand success, where he's hitting all these bestseller lists." By the way, you should buy my book. Links in the description. It's pretty all right. Anyways, Brandon Sanderson has his rules of magic, which are pretty good in a lot of ways, because they are narrative rules. And realistically, the one that matters is that restrictions are more interesting than capabilities, because Brandon Sanderson likes to make systems and then explore the implication of the rules of the system, such as they have to consume specific metals. And you say, well, what metals? Okay, well, what do they have in common with each other? Well, can you build some kind of pattern? Can you extrapolate like the periodic table of elements and say, oh, actually, there's an undiscovered magic power, because of X, Y, and Z. So if these are the rules, how do people rationally behave? Is there an entire industry of powdering these metals, filching the gold and turning it into powder so you can take it in a shot so you can burn it for your magic? And he makes very fleshed out enough settings that are just really engaging. People really like Brandon Sanderson novels for this reason. Problem is, some people read it and go, isn't it poisonous to consume zinc in these quantities? Even though the metal's getting burned. It's actually a plot point in the third one that the metal gets annihilated upon consumption, upon burning it. So no, they do not. They're not developing heavy metal toxicity. How do they do that? I don't know, man. It's freaking magic. Why would someone want an explanation beyond it's magic? Now, Sanderson magic has the rules. It has the limitations. It allows the reader to go, well, the main character is capable of these things, so they have these options available to them in order to deal with the problem. I think this might happen. Oh, but there might be that complication. You can anticipate the future and maintain tension. You can maintain the fear that things will go wrong. It's not super genius wizard summons an army of flaming angels to solve all the problems because super wizard. But it doesn't, once you have those rules, you really don't want to get into the nitty gritty. Like, oh, what if there was a special enzyme to digest the metals to prevent it from building up in their liver? No, man, it's magic. This is the literal exact problem people have with the prequel trilogy of Star Wars, back when Disney hadn't destroyed it. And everyone was fine with, oh, it's the Force. And then they said, oh, well, it's a midichlorian count. Why didn't Anakin become weaker when he lost an arm, therefore lost 20% of his midichlorian count? It's magic, bro. Just don't do it. There is no satisfying explanation once you get into like the absolute nittiest, grittiest level of how does the magic work. Readers don't want to know that kind of answer. It doesn't make for a good story. It actually starts attacking the very suspension of disbelief that they have given the story until that point. Because then, like, if you're talking about the actual digestive tract's functions, you are asking the reader to apply their knowledge of a really obscure and niche biology subject, which maybe they don't know anything about biology, so they're going to feel insulted that they're being called stupid because you're treating a specific piece of biological information as if it's common, or they're being drawn back into the real world when they're there for escapism, or maybe, God forbid, you just get a detail wrong. They don't believe that there's such a thing as an enzyme that breaks down metal because they know that enzymes actually decompose proteins into smaller proteins. Don't do it, please. That's my plea to fantasy writers out there and science fiction writers. When these kinds of made-up systems, as soon as you have the rules that matter, like at an engineering level, don't go below that, please. Now, that said, Mistborn's pretty good. It kind of dabbles in one layer below, and I'm actually open to the idea that he probably has very specific rules that he intentionally withheld. And right now he's exploring the Cosmere and bringing everything together. The gloves are off, I think he said during his Kickstarter. I have not been keeping up on Sanderson. There's too many other stories out there to read for me to want to read books, boat anchor after boat anchor. They're too big for me. But if someone is a big Sanderson fan and can comment below on whether there is like a secret special explanation, because I know there is one character collecting all of the magic systems for some reason, that is kind of interesting. I do like what he's doing with the multiverse. There's just too much out there. But comment below if there is a secret explanation, and let me know if it's good or bad. Until then, though, let magic be magic. Drop a like, subscribe, join the book club if you haven't already. This month is Elric and Melnibone, and the live stream's coming up right around the corner on a Saturday soon. Then we'll have a new book for the new month, and I'm pretty happy with this one. If you follow me on Twitter, you might actually already know what it is, but stick around. Till then, cheers.